Hey everybody, my name is LaPrecious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with LaPrecious. So, I know it's been a long time coming since Love After Lockup with Dylan and Heather premiered, pretty much about a month ago. But hey, I'm here. And I thought that tonight would be a good night to show this review that I want to do of them because the new episodes of Love After Lockup will be premiering tomorrow, I believe at 9 o'clock. So I'm sure a lot of people are pretty much getting prepped to see the new episode of Love After Lockup after being on a 3 week, 4 week hiatus. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. So I want to talk about Dylan and Heather. Y'all, I've seen like Dylan and Heather, played repeatedly on WeTV as well as on YouTube. And I can honestly say, like, Dylan is fine. Like, Dylan's not ugly to me. And a lot of people keep saying that he's gay, but I don't really get gay when I do see Dylan. Dylan is just one of those men that's just like over attractive, where they almost look too good to be true. And it's like that shine and smile and all that. It's just too much to take in. And I just feel like that's the kind of vibe that he gives off to me. He fine and he look good, but it's almost as if he looks too good. But anyways, we're gonna get down to the meat and the bones of the story. So with this whole story of love and lockup with Dylan and Heather. So let's focus on Heather. Heather is pretty much this, down to earth, sweet girl who's pretty much had a troubled past. She talked about how when she was a child, really a teenager, her mom had married this man that pretty much treated her like a dog. And so she, probably popped off at the mouth, probably was trying to defend her mom and whatnot against her mom's husband. And she said they ended up packing her up and putting on her a plane one day with no explanation. And when she got off the plane and ended up and getting off the plane, she pretty much had said that it ended up being a boot camp or like some type of group home or boot camp or whatever for troubled teens. And she said she ended up getting raped there. And by looking at Heather, the way that she looks in her pictures versus now, I think she's somebody that's been on like some hardcore drugs in between the times that she's been with Dylan. Now, Dylan, he's 30 years old. He's been locked up for about 5 years. So he still got his youth with him because with all the mugshot pictures they were showing, and that's another thing, and I'll get to that once I get the Dylan side of the story. So with Heather, it because I mean the first few pictures they showed of her, she looked pretty good. Like, this sweet, quirky girl, that had a nice looking fine boyfriend. And, but other than that, she looked like, in one picture where she had like blonde hair and a trench coat with a little bag. She pretty much looked smart, looked fun, looked cute, sweet, and everything like that. But it's like as time went on, like through the years with her and Dylan, and you could even see it in the pictures up until now, I think she was a drug addict or at least have been dealing with some type of substance abuse, some type of drug problem. Because the way that she looks now in these episodes, it looks very meth crackhead like to me. And she never talked about that in her confessionals. But I mean, it's evident from looking at her pictures 5 years ago till now, it's evident that she's been on some type of drug or substance to cope with whatever went on in her childhood or whatever personal thing she's dealing with. Because I'm telling y'all, and I'm only going to deal with this for a short amount of time, but when people experience trauma, especially in their youth from parents, from siblings, from any other person in the world they were supposed to trust, it ends up scarring them. Because people don't understand that when you're a child, those are your development years. You're supposed to learn how to eat, how to play, how to grow, how to talk, how to walk. Pretty much you're developing into a human being. And when you have people that hamper that with abuse and neglect and withdrawal, and you're just experiencing so much hurt and pain and disassociation with people, it could really do damage to you. And then people grow up saying, well, I really must be this bad person if people keep treating me like this. And I do believe that that's the case in Heather's situation. Because then she started talking about how Dylan made her feel, how Dylan was someone that spoke to the parts of her that were unknown, how she just really connected with him. Now let's move along to Dylan. Now, Dylan to me, he looked like a pretty Ricky, the pretty boys that was in school that all the girls wanted to be with, but were always get in trouble, end up in the principal's office or ISS by the end of the day or by the end of the week. Yeah, he seems like one of those types. But I can tell he got a lot of good sense about himself or some smarts because the way that he was talking, like he started right off the bat. I've always been an entrepreneur minded individual. And somebody commented in the comments somebody else's video, and it was so funny. And they said he talking about he was an entrepreneur spirit. Sir, you're a drug dealer. And yes, he is a drug dealer because I don't understand now. He got lucky getting caught that last time selling 100 ecstasy pills, like you said in the confessional to an undercover cop, and he ended up doing 5 years. He was lucky because I have never heard of somebody other than Tommy from Love and Hip Hop. Because Tommy from Love and Hip Hop, she got a rap sheet that spans back to the early 2000s up until what 2018, 2017. And I don't understand how some of these people keep going to jail, keep getting arrested, keep getting all these mug shots, and y'all not doing 10 to 15 years or so. Because I'm like, y'all got people out here in the streets where if they get caught being a prostitute one time, they doing 15 years in jail. And it's the same thing with a petty drug cop or a petty drug deal. Some of these petty drug deals be getting like 10 to 15 or 20 years in jail. So it's like dealing either you got some really good looks or your privilege or something about your looks and whatnot may have really got you lucky with this legal system because I don't understand how somebody could be arrested that many times and not do no hard time longer than 5 years. And I mean, you can tell he's been arrested ever since he came into puberty. Because when you look at his mugshot pictures, he was obviously 25 because he started now when he went in. But it's like even before then, it looked like he might have been selling drugs since the age of what, 17, 18 ish. And then they finally caught up with him. Well, if he got arrested 34 times, he probably started selling drugs maybe at the age of 15 or 16. Because I'm like, there's no way you can keep constantly getting caught in the span of 3 years. I'm like, you had to be doing this since you was in high school. And that's obviously what it looks like to me for you to be arrested 34 times. So moving along from that, he pretty much talks about Heather, how, they've only had minimal time. And my thing is, he exemplified a lot of the facts about their relationship. And that's why I said when he came on his confessional, he was very articulate. I mean, he pretty much came in there, smooth face, pulled back hair, nice fitted shirt and everything, smiling. I've always been an entrepreneur minded person. Like, like he just came off the bat like he was doing an interview for like a company or something. And he pretty much gave the whole spiel of how he'd been arrested and how he met Heather and whatnot. And he pretty much said that he wants to see what the future holds for us. But he said that, we spend minimum time with each other and whatnot. So he's pretty much letting y'all know that they haven't really spent that much time together and whatnot. So he's like, you could just tell right off the bat, this girl's crazy. She done had my name tatted on her like 6 times, like 6 different languages. And, I'm like, this girl's kind of crazy, kind of cuckoo, but I'm just going to rock it out to see how it goes. So at least he did give her a chance. But I mean, he pretty much had some smarts and said, yeah, I need to check this girl out or see what this girl's rocking with before we really get into anything serious. So I could tell that he had a lot of sense, or at least enough sense, to really get into that. So he pretty much talked in the confessional how, that she's very committed to him by having all his names tattooed on her in different languages. He says it's a tad bit obsessive, but he says we're going to pretty much stick to it and whatnot. Now, my thing is that Dylan is living in the real world and Heather is living in La La Land. Because to me, she's like a kid in the candy store. Ooh, I got this hot, sexy man with these bulging muscles looking at me. He's my man. He's this, he's that. Ooh la la. And you could tell, like, when he got out of jail, she was like, can I run to you? Can I come to you? And I thought it was so sweet and whatnot. Now, my thing is, we cannot say that all of this is on Heather when it comes to the affection part. Because, I mean, Dylan, he was in on it too. He was smooching her neck, smooching her lips, smooching her face. grabbed her butt a couple of times and even pulled her into his crotch when she turned around from the back. And even when they was in the camera saying, I'm out of jail, I feel good now not being around a bunch of killers with chains clanging, I got a beautiful girl, beautiful life, and let's see what the future holds for us. So, he was kissing her, smooching her and everything like that. And then when they got to the trunk of the car where he was pretty much taking his shirt off and everything, they act like the way they was kissing and smooching like they was gonna do it right then and there outside. But she decided to go ahead and bring him into the car. Now, a lot of people was saying, how he got tan lines and he been in jail. I mean, people, come on. When it comes to these prisons, it's not like these people are living in a dungeon. You got prisoners that got computers and cell phones and could do Instagram lives inside of jail. I mean, really, these prisoners, they be living a life. As much money people be putting on them books, yeah, they can afford it. I mean, when they put money on their commissary, they can call people, they can get on the internet, they can study, go to school. I mean, jail is pretty much like a world for them. Now, it's not a world I want to live in, but I mean, you got a bathroom, you got a bed, you got food, even though it ain't that good. You still got some type of shelter and food. Then you got recess time where you go out to the yard and pump a few pumps, on the little barbells and stuff, and then you get to play soccer, basketball, chase after the dogs and whatnot. But you got guards and stuff watching you, and of course, it's that's pretty much what it is. They're pretty much living in confinement. They did the crime, so they got to do the time, but they're doing time in a place that's kind of like their world that pretty much is supposed to be a holding place for them to learn a lesson. But sometimes men or women, they get so hooked on the game, that's why they keep going back into jail, because they get treated so well in these prisons and they have so much access to the outside world. They're like, well, what do I need to leave for? Because if it's good in here and I got to go out here and figure out how to use Instagram and Twitter and text and get on Zoom and Facebook, how to apply for a job, how to pay bills and stuff, I might as well stay here in jail where people's tax money is paying for me to sleep, eat, and have chow down and recess time and whatnot. And that's what they do. And that's why this crime mentality and jail like mentality is so hard to accomplished because of how good they got it in jail. But Dylan, the way his mindset is, I doubt he would ever try to get back in jail. Now, one thing I will do is I will do a little bit of an update, and I hate how all this information has spilled out before the latter half of the episodes between Dylan and Heather really have finished. So after we pretty much see that scene, they get in the car and they ride down to the car wash. And Dylan and Heather was pretty much talking about, how they never had sex and how they had, little contact with each other. And of course, they eventually have sex in the car wash. Now, they don't show it, but we pretty much know what happened when it was in there. So, Dylan got his feel, Heather got her feel, and whatnot. So, this is pretty much like a match made in like crazy heaven and whatnot. Now, my thing is with Heather, like I said, I feel like she's finding refuge in Dylan, mainly because she was treated so bad in her childhood. Because I hate to say it, a lot of times when women fall in love with men like that, especially when they're overly attractive and overly sexy, sometimes they tend to have a troubled past where they was raped, where they was molested. Mama didn't like them, daddy didn't like them, they got neglected and whatnot. And so they try to find love, what they call, in the wrong places or the wrong people. Or once they think they found love in somebody like Heather has found Dylan, it's like, oh, okay, I found my saving grace or my savior. And I feel like that's what Heather thinks with Dylan. And Dylan is like, it's like, do you see me? Do you see how I look? Do you see all these, pictures and stuff I got? Yeah, I'm with you and I'm gonna be with you. But if you keep doing this little crazy stuff, I'm gonna be up out of here and get with somebody I really want to be with. And unfortunately, Dylan did. Because I was watching another person's who was I watching? I was watching another person's review of Dylan and Heather, and I was reading the comments and whatnot, and people were saying that Dylan did leave Heather, and he did. I did my own research, and come to find out, Dylan got a restraining order put against Heather. Now, as I was reading through the different articles, I don't know what happened, I don't know why, but Dylan just got to a point where, he was just tired of her craziness. He was tired of her doing this, tired of her doing that, and he just pretty much just offed her. Just pretty much wrote a restraining order against her where she has to stay away from him and everything. And there is proof out there with Heather holding the restraining order in a picture, so it's real. So Heather and Dylan did break up. Now, I really don't understand how they could have let all this information just spell out like this without all the episodes coming out or really completed. And plus, I feel like Dylan and Heather, they do got a hot little thing going on and whatnot because Dylan is really attractive. He is fine. And I ain't never seen nobody that fine like that in a real long time. And so I feel like due to Dylan looking so good and being fine and then Heather being so crazy, I got a feeling that the producers, the people of the show, they knew this wasn't gonna last long anyway. Cause I feel like if they did, or if they really cared about the show, they would have did everything they could to try to hold back all of this information that's out now about Dylan and Heather. And Dylan has moved on. Now Dylan does have an Instagram page. I follow him on it, and it's called Dylan GNT, and it's really diligent when you think about it. And he pretty much has his own quote unquote business company. To me, I don't really see it as that big of a business or whatnot, because all it is just one of those businesses where people come in to like seminars, and they pretty much teach you how to make $1,000 in a week or $12,000 in 2 months and whatnot. So yeah, he's pretty much one of those kind of people. And so yeah, he's pretty much those kind of people. And so by me seeing that, I'm like, okay, Dylan, he got his money up, he got his weight up, he moved on from Heather and whatnot, and he has a new girlfriend. And the girlfriend, she don't look nothing like Heather did at all. And so, Dylan, he pretty much has moved on. Heather, I don't really know how she's going to take this, but I just hate how all of that information just came out like that without all the episodes finishing up. But I kind of got a feeling how the producers or the people of the show, they pretty much felt this relationship wasn't going to last, and they knew Dylan really wasn't going to be with her like that. So that's why they just went ahead and let it slip on out. And they just gonna play these episodes or probably just rush them through the scenes like they kind of did in the last few episodes. I'm sorry, y'all. Like they kind of did in the last few episodes with Dylan and Heather. So I hope you all like this episode. Don't forget to like, leave a comment in the comment section, and have a good day.